Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my third in a series featuring the Unimatic timepiece that I purchased 1 month ago. Well, I received it in the post 1 month ago today. So this is a 1 month on the wrist video, if you like. Although, to be fair, I have not worn it every day of the month. It seems that after I purchased this watch, I became inspired to wear some of the other timepieces I have in my collection, but I've had a healthy amount of time with it on the wrist. And so today I want to talk about the pros and the cons of this particular timepiece. Now, for those of you that don't know, Unimatic is an Italian watch manufacturer, and they've been around for a handful of years now. And this is the third model in their series. They have a dive watch and sort of a utility watch, and then this is their chronograph. Now, of the three models that Unimatic features, this is the one with a mecha quartz movement. So the others are automatic Seiko movements, and this is a mecha quartz Seiko movement, which is to say that it is powered by a battery. It's quartz accurate, but it has a mechanical movement that controls the chronograph function. So there's actually a flyback function like in a mechanical chronograph, whereas generally with a quartz chronograph, in order to reset the chronograph hand, it sweeps around in a clockwise position to reset to the 12 o'clock, whereas this resets in an anti-clockwise position instantly. And that's a pretty cool feature. Now, it's very comfortable. It's a very handsome watch. I've received compliments and I've seen eyes staring at it, maybe trying to figure out what it is when I'm on the street. And overall, I'm very happy with it. I'm particularly happy with the diamond-like carbon coating on the case. Because that in combination with the sapphire probably guarantees that it will stay in a new condition for a fairly long time, providing I don't abuse it. Now, some things that I'm less happy about, I really wish that it had come with a steel bracelet that was also DLC treated. I might be being a nitpick about it, but if I wanted to wear this watch in perhaps a more formal occasion, I'll probably just transition over to a leather strap, and I have a black leather strap that I could put on this so that it looks less utilitarian. Now, another thing that I'm not exactly jazzed about is this double anti-reflective coating. So that is to say that it is coated on the underside and the top side of the crystal. What I did is research and discovered that it is possible to scratch the anti-reflective coating. And for all intents and purposes, it looks like you have a scratched watch crystal. Some people are so disappointed with watches that feature double anti-reflective coatings that they either swap their crystal out for one that doesn't feature it on the top, or they remove the bezel and buff off the anti-reflective coating. That is not so important to me. It just means that I have to be ginger with it and make sure that I don't bang the crystal on anything or rub the crystal on anything, because that anti-reflective coating will scratch and it will appear as though you have just a mineral crystal on your watch. Excuse me. Now, another thing that I'm not particularly jazzed about is the design language between the indices and the numerals on the bezel doesn't quite conform with what's on the dial. Now, this minimalist design cue is what makes Unimatic so popular. And it just seems like the bezel is perhaps a bit too generic. But again, I might be nitpicking. I'm not complaining. The bezel is robust and it's quite nice overall. 120 clicks, and it is quite stiff. So it's unidirectional, obviously, so that you don't accidentally lose time if you want to use it in a dive condition. Another thing that I'm not overtly impressed with is that the pushers, the screw down pushers, are difficult with my hobbit fingers to access and get into. And so it's difficult to unscrew it, and anything that's difficult to unscrew is also difficult to screw back down. And if I don't make extra effort to make sure that I have it screwed down correctly, I could accidentally introduce water into the case. So in comparison, if you look like a Rolex Daytona Cosmograph, their screw down function on the pushers is quite robust, and you realize that that's a good thing. But the profile of this is still quite nice, even if it is difficult to screw these pushers back down. Lastly, I would say that the thing that I'm most disappointed with is the C3 lume that is on the indices and the hands. I'm of the opinion that if you have a tool watch with lume on your dial, that lume should be Superluminova at a minimum. I think that any watch brand should be using Superluminova if they have any lume on the dial. And the reason for this is because if you're using it in low light conditions, through the night even, you should have a minimum of 4 to 6 hours of lume from the dial. And sadly, I believe that in 5 or 10 minutes, the lume on this particular watch fades dramatically. So I'm going to switch over to some photos that I took. And for comparison, I used my 24-year-old Citizen ProMaster. And this is a low light shot where you see that both watches are illuminated. First I gave them a dose of sunlight before this low light photo here. And you can see that the 24-year-old timepiece that is on the right is still doing a remarkable job. And in fact, I would argue that the hands are every bit as bright as the hands on my 1-month-old Unimatic. And the indices on the Unimatic don't look like they're lumed at all. The pip looks really good. And then this, if I can just bring that photo up, this is the dark photo. Now, unfortunately, it's blurry because I took it with my phone, and I was a bit, obviously I didn't have it focused up. But they both look to be the same level of lume, despite the fact that the Citizen ProMaster is a 24-year-old watch that's been worn to death like a beater. Having said that, though, I am quite happy with the watch. I am very happy that I purchased it, and I am on the waiting list to purchase if Messina Labs does a future collaboration with Unimatic. I'm on the waiting list for one of those timepieces. Because overall, like I said, I think that Unimatic has really hit it out of the park with their watches, and I can't wait to get another. Okay, guys, thanks so much for your time. Please like and subscribe if you like the content. I'll be uploading more stuff soon. Cheers, everybody.